Hello and welcome to We Got a Podcast, a podcast about Dragon Ball from A to Z, from Earth to Namek to Sadala to Sandland. We cover everything Dragon Ball. My name is Randy.
And I'm Swimmer Doug.
And I'm the man formerly known as General Ken.
We're the world's strongest under the heavens trio de dangers here every other week to talk your ear off about fights, goofs, and everything else in the Dragon Ball cosmos. Doug, how you doing?
I'm chill, man. I'm good. I've been getting new stuff for my new desk, which looks really nice. Although none of you can see it because it's over here, but it's just for my own viewing pleasure. Mm-hmm. But it's really nice to see. I bought like some like RGB lights, but not like classy. Like they're like little stands. They're not like the strips. I hate when strips you can like see like each individual dot like when they're out in the open. I'm ranting, but I'm rambling. But yeah, I like what I'm doing.
Heck yeah, man. Ken, how about you?
I've been getting really into eating pistachios.
Oh, new hobby. Cool.
Probably the best nut, I think. What do you have? Where on your guys' nut ranking is a pistachio?
The one from GT, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
Almonds for me.
Okay.
And then the after marriage.
Right.
That's a good nut.
Where's pecans for you? And first of all, do you say pecans or pecans? Or pecan?
I say pecans out of a joke now, and now I can't not say pecans.
See, as a good southern boy, I say pecan.
Pecans.
I'm
you're saying pawn.
I'm team pecan, but I will say cashews are up there. So I like my nuts salty. What can I say?
No surprise there.
I've also entered the wonderful world of VR thanks to Randy and his wonderful mother.
Thanks, Mom.
No context. Just like that.
Yeah, let's leave it there.
Okay. No, that just sounds weird.
Randy's mom.
My mother bought a VR headset after she checked out mine. She's like, this is pretty sick. And then she got it, and then she never used it. And she's like, do you know anybody that wants one? And I'm like, yeah, I do, actually.
And now Ken's been joining us on our VR nights, and it's been a blast.
Yeah, and my back has never been the same.
Because we're playing a lot of golf, right? So you're just like looking down constantly.
Yeah. It's the worst part is looking for those stray balls. It's like,
oh yeah,
yeah.
Where are they? It's okay. We'll play something.
You put it on you. You're the one that as soon as we finish a hole, you're off looking for them. You love doing that.
Yeah, I
don't
do,
you try hiding that.
It's fun.
Got my golf ball radar out. I'm searching.
Yeah.
Fun,
Nice. Well, I've been continuing to play Yakuza 0, and I am in Chapter 9, and I'm hooked now because I unlocked Cabaret running, and now I can't stop.
Isn't it just the best when Majima, the little cutscene where Majima comes and brings the drink, and then as he walks away, he gives the thumbs up?
I live for that. Like, every time I'm like, trigger it. I love it so much.
Yeah.
And just the host is just like, hey, this is the quick
I should
way.
really get into that game.
I know I told you that you needed to do the Cabaret Club storyline, but I knew secretly once you started it, you're going to be compelled to do it.
That was the problem. Like, I need to continue this plot.
Yeah.
But I need to hold on. I at least took care of one of taking down the 5 other Cabaret clubs. I'm like, all right, I cleared one. Now I'll move on and do some plot. I also just like going on the little dates, like that first girl that you've got.
Sorry to interrupt. My eye is killing me. I gotta fix that.
Well, Doug,
as long as I could, but it just hurts so bad.
I'll just continue talking about cute girls going out on dates, which is just so good. Like, I was like really worried. I'm like, this is gonna be cringe. This is gonna be bad. No, it's wholesome and it's great.
Yeah, and it's great because it's all about Majima trying to like better the lives of his girls. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
It's like, yeah, you're going on dates and there's like a slightly romantic aspect to it, but it's more of like a father figure type thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's great.
And wow, I did not expect such a robust makeover system to, get new outfits and hairstyles and makeup. I'm like, oh, I'm in this.
Yeah. That is not the only game that has that kind of stuff in it. Even the games without cabaret clubs have that kind of stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's good, man. I don't know how quick I'm going to get through it or how fast I'll go on to more Yakuza after this. And I think one of the main problems for me not getting into it right away is I was approaching it different, where I was like, I just want to get in here and I want to just go through this game and I want to just, binge it. I was listening to some other podcasts and I'm like, they're just not stopping talking about Yakuza 0. And one person just said, it's a sipping game, man. You just got to take little sips every night right before bed. That's the way to do it. And I'm like, oh, so.
You say that. I blew through Yakuza 0, Kiwami, and Kiwami 2, and then I had to wait because I wasn't going to play on PS3. And then they announced the 3, 4, and 5 on PS4, and I got those, blew through those, and then I blew through those straight through 6. And then played Judgment. No, I played Judgment way out of order. And but anyways, what I'm trying to say is by that point I had already caught up with the series, and so I didn't just blow through everything in one go. Like you can now on Steam for the low price.
They're cheap. It's good stuff, man.
We're just keeping that all in where I just decided to walk out on you guys. That's cool. I appreciate it.
We were having a lovely conversation.
You were,
man.
I was like dying out here. Well, I thought of Yakuza 0 and it just made me cry how beautiful the game was. So
yeah, that's basically what it is.
I had to fix that real quick.
Well, now that you've recovered and you're alive, I think you're okay.
No, I'm good.
Okay. We can get into what we're really talking about. And I know this is supposed to be a Dragon Ball podcast, but there's something a little more timely, a little more of the moment. And we thought we'd talk about Sandland, one of Akira Toriyama's other manga series. So
timely, Randy, didn't this manga come out years ago?
It sure did. But the thing is that what's old is new again, and we're getting a CGI anime film in Japan this year, in America next year, as well as a video game coming to all your favorite platforms, all about Sandland.
And figures. There's figures.
Oh, God. That's right. How could I forget the figures? So it was exciting because I've never experienced Sandland. So I was like, I guess I'll read this thing. And it's good. For background, it was a manga serialized in Weekly Shonen Jump magazine from May to August back in 2000. And we got it.
Wait, for context, is 5 years after Dragon Ball ended.
Yes, exactly. And then we got it here in the U.S. From Viz in 2003. And we're getting that movie from Sunrise and Kamikaze Doga and Anima. And that's coming out in Japan this month. I think it's this Friday. Is that right?
Well, it'll be out by the time this podcast goes out.
Yes.
It actually is out on the day this podcast comes out.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's
so
good
you may have
timing.
noticed this episode's out a little early to coincide with this.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that was
well,
the plan.
video version's out on 18th. I'm going to look like hell to get this edited version out. So
I was just sticking with a regular schedule, so I'm glad that you're taking care of that.
So premium content on the YouTube. This is why you should subscribe if you're here.
Right.
You get episodes early. You get to see me run to the bathroom to fix my eye.
Yeah. I can
get it
edit
all,
that out
baby.
if you need me to.
No, it's fine.
We're doing it
Something in there,
live.
dang it. I see either I'm crying or there's something in there still, but whatever.
I still think about Majima and being a father figure to all those girls.
So, big picture, what did you guys think of Sandland before we get into the synopsis real quick?
Doug?
Overall thoughts.
I thought it was fine. It was all right.
Okay. Fine is good. I finished it and I'm like, hot damn, that was great. I love this thing quite a bit. No, it's not the most, deep thing or anything like that, but it's fun, it's breezy, it's gorgeous. Like I was like, let me go back and take a look at some late Dragon Ball manga. I'm like, oh man, there was love and care put into Sandland. Holy shit.
Compared to the end of Dragon Ball, you mean?
Yeah.
Nice.
For
Yeah,
sure.
Toriyama looks he's drawing great here. It looks awesome.
He got to be his mechanical pervert self and just draw a tank over and over and over
You
again.
wanted to draw so many tanks.
Again, what did you think?
I'm with you, Randy. I loved it. And I was not expecting to love it because I have experienced parts of Sandland in the past. And I think maybe I just didn't experience it at the right time in my life, or particularly the right time in human history. Because I think that this manga really resonates with a lot of stuff that's going on these days.
That's going on. I know. I think that's why I didn't like it. I'm like, I don't want to see more of this.
And I think it's shocking. So first of all, watching GT is distinctly like not un-Toriyama. And to just read something that's like pure Toriyama again, like he didn't even have an assistant for this series.
No.
He did the whole thing
Really?
himself, yeah. And it's just the most like serious and I'm going to intentionally make a theme that I feel Toriyama has ever been.
Yeah.
And
it feels so weird to just like read something and I still have to wrap my head around this is Toriyama. This isn't like Toyotaro. This isn't like just influence. This is straight up just him again.
It's Toriyama
It's great.
with something to say, and it's weird.
Yeah.
But I love it. Let's get into the synopsis. Right?
Yeah, let's go for it. So, what is Sandland? Well, in the far future, war has ravaged the entire Earth, leaving only a barren wasteland called Sandland, where the supply of water is controlled by a greedy king. Sheriff Rao asks the King of the Demons for his help in finding a way to end the drought. What he gets is the king's son, Beelzebub, his attendant, Thief, and a weird journey through the Great Desert. After committing Grand Theft Tank, Rao and the demonic duo ride their iron chariot towards an inevitable confrontation with evil.
First of all, kudos on that Grand Theft Tank.
Yeah, that was pretty nice. Was that a Randy original?
No, it's not. This is actually taken. It was. I just went to Write Stuff, and I just took their synopsis.
Okay, gotcha.
I figured that's right from Viz themselves. So
Grand Theft Tank. Can we start off? I didn't like his attendant's name being Thief. That kept throwing me off every time I read that name. But I guess in the Japanese world, you don't read thief as we read thief.
Shifu is how it was written in Japanese. Right. So yeah.
But I mean, it's not just a one-for-one word of another word that we use all the time. So
right.
I liked his character a lot. I liked all the characters in this book.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think that's what Doug was saying. I think Doug was saying he doesn't like the character's name.
No, just now I'm saying I don't like any of the characters.
Oh, okay.
Just kidding.
Whoa.
Well, this just felt like a manga of like, what if Kid Vegeta? And that's what Beelzebub is. He's just like a Kid Vegeta, like a little scrappy, overconfident little brat who's like, if he was raised on Earth, like he'd like be. This is his story.
Is he overconfident?
No, I'm sorry. Confident. Just perfectly confident in his. He has the abilities. Yeah.
I liked them all. I would agree, especially Rao. Like, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm getting old, at 35, connecting more with these old dudes. But like, I don't know, like I felt the twists and everything that was coming along were great. The character banter back and forth, super good. I
like his sweater, how it made him look like Goku. His sweater was a very Goku-ish with like he got an undershirt. All right, let's pull out the manga.
Symbol, yeah. I see it here. Yeah.
Symbol on the corner, yeah.
Yeah. That's because his
distinct page that has
his sensei.
Yeah, there it is.
The S was his symbol. His sensei's name was Sheriff.
Oh.
None of that's true, but
none of that's true. Okay, well, you sold it to me, and I'm like, well, Ken knows. He digs into guidebooks. He eats them for breakfast.
Oh, I got all of the Sandland guidebooks right here.
It's just the manga. That's all we got.
It's funny, like reading the foreword for this book by Toriyama, and Toriyama almost like paints it as it was excruciating to draw this series.
How so?
Probably because of all the technical art required. He says in here that he was already regretting getting involved with, specifically the tank was harder to draw than he expected. And again, he didn't have an assistant for this, so it was all
what
him.
He thought. It's a tank. Of course it's going to be complicated to draw.
I did not know that manga artists had assistants until I read Bakuman.
Oh, like basically behind the scenes.
Yeah. And then I'm like,
kids wanting to become.
This guy gets an assistant? I want an assistant. I would draw so many more comics if I had an assistant.
Here's the thing, though. From what I know, for mangaka assistants, the publisher is not paying the assistants. The mangaka is out of his own pocket. So it's like, well, cool, I get 20 grand for this, but I got to pay the dude who helped me draw the backgrounds. It's not up to my publisher to cover it. It's like, oof,
it's worth it. That's why they exist, man. It really helps out doing like the just the tedious things like coloring in Goku's hair all the time must really
yeah. I think the first time I ever was like, oh, they get assistants was I was reading Death Note, and I'm not sure if you guys have read or seen Death Note.
Same artist then. You both
yeah, it's Bakuman.
Found out from this.
Yeah. Where Nier is always like building little things, and there's at one point he has like an entire castle made out of matchsticks, And like I think it was in an afterword or in volume 13 How to Read, where there's like no, I think it was in the thing. There's like a little asterisk next to like this big background thing of that. It just said, "Sorry to my assistant who I had to make draw all of these individual matchsticks to make this castle." I'm like, what? Oh man, that sucks. I guess somebody does have to draw that, don't they?
Yeah.
So yeah, going in soloed this thing is what he did, which I was impressed by. But yeah, the art I think was super detailed, right?
In like the main plot in the desert, that might have helped a lot to not to draw too much. I really don't like desert areas. Like that's the part of Dragon Ball that always gets made fun of. That it's boring desert area, but it really makes when they find this oasis that much more beautiful.
Yeah,
there's context for it too,
and contrast.
Yeah. Speaking of art here, you can really see Toriyama's like evolutionary link between the Buu arc and his Kanzenban art in Sandland. Because his Kanzenban started, 2003, 2004?
Around there, yeah.
So this is like smack dab in the middle of Toriyama's art evolution. And there's a lot of his slapdash type nature from the Buu arc still in here. Whereas I think he really refined himself with his Kanzenban art in a new direction. Yeah. It's always interesting to look at how much Toriyama's art changes over the years. And he goes through different styles and starts becoming much more angular. How natural
it all seems just because we're following from Dragon Ball to the end of Dragon Ball.
Yeah, you just never see it happen.
Yeah. But you do see it with Beelzebub, how he has that kind of like really straight, slim body, tiny like arms and everything. I'm like, oh yeah, that's how he draws like Kid Goku at that time on like Kanzenban art.
Right, yeah.
A little bit of the way that modern Toriyama would come about in all of his characters just being like really simple designs and slim and lanky.
Yeah, exactly. I
was surprised. I thought that Beelzebub was he like looked at some like thieves, some bandits like wearing like a little BDSM kind of like outfit. Yeah. It's like those are cool. I thought we were gonna like see him in a new outfit, like having that on, but never happened.
Keeps it simple. I like that.
I think if this had been like an ongoing series, we might have seen something like this. But I think, like I said before, the most striking thing about Sandland to me is it's Toriyama on a mission to tell a certain story. And, you know, it's when people say like One Piece isn't political, One Piece is absolutely political. From the very first chapter of that series it is, and it is all the way through, and it still is. And I would say like this is probably Toriyama, from what I've read, at his most political.
Yeah, I would agree.
Right. Because it's all dealing with, you know, global warming and, you know, the hoarding of resources by the rich and wealthy and powerful.
Yeah, the rich just being bad and greedy and stealing the water. And for the record, I guess did we explain that's the whole plot of the point in your synopsis that the king is hoarding all the water, keeping it secret that there's this oasis. He's blocking all the water from. There's like a riverbend it's supposed to have water, but the king blocks it all.
Right. So we're going to talk about spoilers in this episode. If you haven't read Sandland.
Yeah, I hope that was obvious.
It's a one-shot read.
Yeah.
You know, in case people were just interested, like, oh, listen to a little bit.
I was waiting for you to stop it. Like, did we get to the part of when?
It's okay. I didn't think about saying anything in particular, but yeah, it's. Where were we? Political. That's what we were doing.
Well, and we were talking about the king hoarding all the water and everything, and like, oh no, the world wasn't fully destroyed 50 years ago, and there's you look all across and you can see the horizon, and it's just open sea out there, and
you're not allowed to have planes. No planes out there.
No planes.
Yeah,
I wonder why.
It's we're used to a Toriyama that is flying by the seat of his pants. You know, we've talked a million times about the Cell arc and how that evolves due to editorial influence and Toriyama being like, okay, well then I'll just do this. I'll do this. I'll do this. I'll do this. But it all works together. But this is Toriyama clearly plotting out what he's doing from start to finish. As he says in his foreword, the whole story had been plotted out before he started. So he's dropping in things about the planes, what's his name? The Shiba's wife. How he's got like the sexy poster up, and he's like, "Oh, she's my good luck charm." Terrier. And then you find out that was his wife, and it's just so masterfully done to see how Toriyama can behave when he sets his mind to it. Not that he doesn't with Dragon Ball, obviously,
but like makes an outline
in a different way. Yeah.
Going in with a plan rather than being like, okay, well, I'm just going to write this, sort of chapter to chapter.
Yeah.
And
but did the wife thing go anywhere? It didn't. It just started as like a joke, didn't it?
It's just another sense of loss of what happened from 30 years ago, and a lot of this.
Right, yeah.
You could almost look at Sandland and say that Rao is the main character of this series, not Beelzebub.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would totally agree.
Yeah. It's all about Rao's character development and where he was 30 years ago, where he stands today, and how along his mission he's bringing people onto his side to win the day and bring everyone under a common goal again to overthrow.
Well, it's funny. As soon as we got a view of, I guess General Zhao, the old dude in like the Frieza space pod,
Zayu.
How old he was. I thought we were gonna get some flashbacks to like them younger, but that never happened. But I was like,
no, this is
it's cool because it's always cool to put in context. Like, oh, these old men, to us they're just two old men. But then to like flashback to see like, oh, actually our main character Rao is not what's our main character? I forgot his name. The old guy. Is
Zayu?
it Rao? No.
Oh, Rao.
Main character.
Shiba.
Okay, it is Rao. Shiba. Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. See him like a little significantly more younger, like in his late 20s, and then this General Zhao guy.
I don't always read voices for characters in my head, but sometimes I'll be reading a character and a voice will just jump out to me, whether I like it or not, and that's the voice that's in my head. And I don't know about you guys, but when I was reading for Zayu, General Zayu in my head, it was the Digimon Adventure dub actor for Genkai.
That's
Genai.
Genkai is Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yep.
Yeah. Both old people. But Genai, that was the voice that was playing in my head for that character. It just like popped into it.
Now when I reread it, that's all I'm going to hear. So thank you. And actually, thank you, because that's good. I like that. Yeah, I didn't have any voices specifically jump out, but
the one thing Go ahead.
I did when I think I saw the trailer for the new movie for this, and I'm like, I started reading the manga first, and then saw the trailer. I'm like, oh yeah, I could totally see his voice sounding like that. So like, yeah, be Beelzebub's. Please, is it Beelzebub? How am I saying it wrong? I'm saying all these words wrong.
Beelzebub.
Beelzebub, not Beelzebub.
Think like Beelzemon from Digimon, but instead of Mon, you just put Bub.
Beelzemom.
We're out here. The one thing I didn't like about Sandland, and I think the further out I get from having read the series, the more I'm okay with it, was everything with the Insect Man. And just it didn't go anywhere. It was following up on Beelzebub absorbing the night to prepare for this kind of a battle, and he goes all out. He has this like Super Saiyan 2 moment where it's like got strange Gohan vibes from the way he stands there.
I got Vegeta in History of Bardock movie vibes there.
The further I get out from it, though, the more I realize that that's not the point of this book.
Right.
And so the whole final encounter, the way it goes down, is about people coming together and not necessarily this big climactic Dragon Ball type moment. And maybe that was an intentional subversion from Toriyama. I mean, king of stories subverting. What is going on over there, Randy?
Randy's been like looking at side-eyeing his window, like they're coming to get me. They're here.
Who knows what's going on? It's a wild time to be alive, I guess. Maybe
I
you would have
worked, man. Though
I would have maybe liked the whole thing of like, well, you got a big bad to fight. If maybe it was more thematically tuned, because I'm not sure how a bug fits into climate change or greed or power, which is what Zayu is kind of all for, because like the king is just a figurehead. It's actually Zayu who's kind of running everything. So it's like maybe if there was
to be a particular kind of bug, like if he was like a cicada, it like makes sense that he's not ready yet because he's not in an oasis. He's in this desert, this unnatural environment or something like that. I don't know, something like that. But I thought it's cool how Toriyama does it, where it just looks like a bug, but he makes it humanoid and makes it look so cool with the simple design.
Yeah, it's first form cell.
Such a talent with it. That's what I was thinking of too, especially with the feet. But
especially with the feet.
You know, as far as you're talking about the thematic nature of Insect Man, who is a sentence I just said, I do think he does have one, and I think it's to serve Beelzebub. because the whole story, you go into a book like Sandland, and they are expecting demons, right, to be the bad guys. And right from the beginning of the story, they're like, demons are not the bad guys. You think they are. They're blamed for a lot of stuff, but they're not. They just steal to serve. They're like Aladdin. They steal one step, da-da-da-da-da. You know, that's Beelzebub.
But I feel like
And
the demons are so overtly good that it's hard to believe that the world hasn't found them to be good. Like,
Well, I mean, we're
Raise the
introduced
first
to them. We're introduced to them, you know, attacking and stealing. So it's like, okay, well, here's
Yeah,
the
but
thing they're
then-
doing.
then he gives like a kid a half his case of water or whatever, and just like, take it. I didn't do it
Yeah.
for you, Baka, and then walks away. Like,
Yeah, but you got 10 pages of like, oh, are these bad guys?
But-
and then like, oh no.
But he
that-
says demons never kill anyone. Like, he literally, and then like,
Yeah, later.
Oh yeah,
well, you need a scapegoat.
no, but I mean,
And it
Yeah.
seems like humans have been perpetuating this nonsense, and that the same way that they have intentionally misunderstood the Peachy people,
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
we haven't even touched on yet, the people who were
Yeah.
inventing a machine to make and produce water, and so the government wiped them out under
yeah,
false pretenses.
So fucked. I was expecting hot girls. Like, I saw the word peachy peachy. I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
peachy peachy gal.
But back to the thematic nature.
I mean,
of
hot to
Insect
Tarble,
Man,
but not
real quick.
anyone else.
There's a moment after Beelzebub does his like explosion, and then he suddenly realizes that Insect Man might have intelligence, and then he
Yeah.
immediately pulls back on his like affront.
Oh,
Or-
can you understand me? Let's talk. Let's
Yeah.
just not do this.
Yeah, and that's
I
just,
like that.
that ties back into the nature of Beelzebub specifically, because you read a series like this, you look at what Beelzebub looks like, and you think he's going to be a problem child type character, but
Yeah.
he's much more.
Very mature.
He's 2,500 years old.
Yeah.
Right.
And he knows what he's doing, but it's just Toriyama subverting and subverting and subverting and subverting. And
Man, maybe he should have wrote Star Wars. The Last Jedi. The worst
I
movie of all time.
That one's perfect.
would absolutely read a Toriyama Star Wars thing.
That would be actually really good.
Somebody tell Kathleen Kennedy that Toriyama loves Star Wars, and I'm sure they'll put him on something.
Yeah.
Show him that one cool drawing of young Anakin from episode 1. That's all we'll need.
Yeah.
She'll be
Oh,
like, oh
yeah.
yeah, I'm down.
Just put in the trailers. From the creator of Dragon Ball comes Star Wars. Easy $1 billion
yeah.
box office hit.
$1 trillion.
Trillion. Yeah.
Yeah, that would increase the GDP of Japan. You wouldn't. They'd become a number one.
Number one. Yep.
I'm just looking through. I took some random screenshots while I was reading through it. And the one that jumps out to me is like, oh man, he's getting the PlayStation 6 so that he could play Dragon Quest 13.
Almost
And I'm
there.
like, you know, it might actually happen where that's the
I know,
platform
right?
that it comes
Yeah.
out on,
He's right on the money for like what version of the game is out there too.
right? Gonna guess it 30 years ahead of time, which is gonna be wild.
So, having reread this series, or I think maybe for all of us, first time all the way
First
through?
time.
Doug?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First time.
How do you feel about this getting a movie?
I want it because I like it's very short, concise, to the point. I'm 100% down for re-experiencing this as a movie.
Yeah. I think the shortness of the story and the conciseness of it and the clarity of the themes and, you know, the characters and everything they're doing, I wouldn't have wanted this to be a TV series. I think a movie is a perfect way to...
Yeah, because this could be like 3 episodes long, which is like it will be a perfect amount. So movie-wise, that's perfect.
Yeah. I like adaptations of stuff. I can't explain why. You know, if I'm given something, I'm like, I love this. If I could experience this again differently, I want to do that. And I think the manga is pretty great. And I would like to see, you know, how it's tackled for a movie.
Especially now that we have a trailer, like we already know what it looks like, and it looks great. Even though it's CGI, it's good CGI. It like really, it's a good. It meshes well.
I'm worried about the game. I'll tell you that. I don't have high hopes
Yeah.
for that. But, you know, it is what it is.
Games in a vast desert.
Yeah, man.
I'm going to propose something to you guys, and I literally just thought about this right now.
Okay.
Is that let's do, you know, we're going to get back to GT next week or next 2 weeks. But let's start to think about ranking all of Toriyama's stories
Dude,
outside of
This is
Dragon Ball.
I've only read Dragon Ball, some of Doctor Slump, and then this. So my Toriyama, even though I own the Toriyama art collection book or whatever, I haven't gone through it. That'd be
so Doctor Slump
fun.
and Dragon Ball. Put those aside. I'm talking about everything else ranking against each other. Obviously, Sandland is number 1 right now.
For me as well, because it's also the only other thing. Like, I've never read Koa or anything like that.
I kind of read Alien Peke, but there's the stuff in the manga theater volumes and
haven't read
different stuff we could look at. So,
Oh, Jocko. Jocko's my number 1.
I would say that's Dragon Ball, but
I don't know. It is kind of a standalone thing, and it only ties in at the very
end. Yeah.
But
you do anything with that.
Once you
I think
know,
that's one thing about Sandland that I didn't really particularly like. It wasn't that funny. I mean, maybe I was going into with too much expectation of like a gag manga, like I'll laugh a minute. But there are like maybe like 3 when some hit though. Like 3 good laughs are in this. But I was expecting more. I guess that's why I was kind of bored.
See, that's what I loved about it.
Yeah, I got on its wavelength real quick, and I was there for it. So I guess it all came into expectations. I wasn't expecting a gag manga. I probably should have. I mean, going by the dude's track record. But
not a gag, but just more like Jocko with like more.
Yeah,
it's a funny story, but yeah, it is great. Like I think the last page is just the swimmers just swimming and the father being like, "Don't breathe underwater."
They've never experienced it before.
I personally feel that a lot of Toriyama's humor, when it's something that is predominantly funny or supposed to be funny, I find Toriyama's humor hard to get through.
Really?
Yeah, I think I found early Dr. Slump to be really unbearable to read. I've heard it gets somewhat like multi-chapter stories later on, and I could probably start to jive with that level of serialization versus everything episodic all the time right in the beginning. I think some of early Dragon Ball is kind of rough when it's trying to be overly funny. I think getting through I haven't read this entire manga theater volume that I have. I think it is a lot of his early stuff is pretty torturous. And once it starts to become stories, he like that. I forget what the first story in there is called. It's like Magic Wonder Island or something, is like god awful. But then as his different stories have more of a narrative to them, they get a lot better. I think he's a masterful story crafter, and that's what I love most about Toriyama. And I think this is like pure that. Sandland is pure Toriyama storytelling, less Toriyama comedy.
I'm not sure. My gut reaction, and this is not going off of information or anything, that was like, is he an expert storyteller? I think in the terms of the ability to convey a story, excellent, peerless. I'm not sure if his story writing in terms of like, I don't know, world building and
Sandland is so on the nose, you can't miss it.
But I think like, if he's gonna, tell you a story, he's gonna explain it clearly. His art is super great and clear and clean, so it's very easy to pick up on like the action or like, character emotions. So I don't know. I guess that's just a thought.
I think his comedy hits for me. Like, he has such a way with making stupid things super funny, and that's all like his early stuff. Like anyone else who wrote that joke would have done it. So I would have just like cringed. But with Toriyama, it's like this fucking guy.
Well, I mean, it's not to say I don't think the comedy in Sandland is bad. I don't think that. I think it's just that when something like Dr. Slump, I find hard to get through when it's just someone does a random thing, XD, and then someone overreacts to it. And then, Raleigh did this, and someone overreacts to it. And it's just like death by 1,000 cuts is what Toriyama comedy manga feels like.
But I feel like the joke is always there to move the story forward.
Yes.
Like I think what you wouldn't like is if it was just a joke for a joke's sake. But
I
think Toriyama does that.
Doesn't do it in this book, Sandland. Now available at all retailers. Well, you still can. This is only the 4th printing in 20 years. And I would imagine that this
Yeah.
book is probably going to start to become hard to come by if they don't do a 5th printing, which I think they probably would. But
Yeah.
It's worth to have. I mean, there's not many like full volume things that Toriyama has done.
and even less that Viz has put out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's only $10. I was like, oh, $10, easy. Okay, yeah, pick this up.
Yeah, just
I'm gonna
it
have
on the
to.
shelf.
I'm definitely gonna have to pick it up because I read it through the Viz Shonen Jump app, and it didn't have that forward. So you guys coming out with some info on that, I'm like, oh dang, like I didn't know any of this. So
Yeah.
that was some good information to have,
I'll tell
and
you what,
I loved it.
I'll read this over the Dragon Ball Super manga any day. So
What if I told you the Dragon Ball Super manga was better than Sandland?
Okay, could you legitimately say that? Do you feel like
Could
you
you
could say that,
legitimately
Randy?
You want me to say, yeah, Toyotaro does way better than Toriyama at storytelling, and
I mean,
You know,
he could be
keeping-
rusty in this story. One could be more enjoyable than the other story.
are you telling me, Ken, that you think you could say that confidently?
No, I wanted to get you on the record. as
No,
telling that.
no. Jokes. I like Super, but it's no Sandland.
I
I don't know.
I think Sandland is a freaking masterpiece, and
Wow.
I could not believe that I would have thought that because I had really low expectations going in. Sandland never jived with me, or I never jived with Sandland as a kid. So I'm absolutely shocked and pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, likewise. I was worried that, when I closed that book, I was like, man, I really loved that. Was it just the, getting to experience something new, something from Toriyama in his
Toriyama.
prime? Yeah, where I was just like, okay, that's just coloring, my thoughts. But I'm like, nope, days go by. And I'm like, still really freaking great. So,
I couldn't just disagree more. This is so boring and just a very straight on the nose. The government is bad. The rich are doing stuff to get their own power, and
well,
Yes,
Doug,
and
are you?
Doug's the
are you
1%.
Yeah. Doug loves Daddy Bezos. And
should have kept the water themselves.
are you going to go see the movie, Doug?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay. I'm super bored by this, but damn it, I'm going to be there day
I
one.
think it's just me reading. I don't know. Just
That's
it's not
fair.
Dragon Ball. But I mean, like when it gets to the action, I sound like a fucking idiot. When it gets to the action, it's like it's so great. Toriyama has a way with action. Just it's still images, but he just has so much motion to them, and
Yeah.
just like a kick landing is just he looks so good.
The way he
I think
moves
he
you
does
around a page.
He does a Goku stance, doesn't he? Did you catch when he does a Goku
Yeah.
stance? Yeah.
I'm going to need a high res scan of the page, the panel of Beelzebub standing like on the cliff, absorbing the power of the night. I'm like,
Oh
good one,
yeah, a poster
with
of
like
that,
some deep rich blacks on a HDR screen as like a
Yeah.
wallpaper. Ooh, that's gonna be good. I want that. Maybe the movie's visuals are super great for that. That would be good. Give me that. I'm
Who
excited.
knows?
Anything else you guys want to talk about Sandland here to get it off your chests?
No, I'm really interested to see what you, the listener, had to say.
That's right, you and you.
There were 3 people, so all 3 of you. Yeah.
All 3 of you. There'll be more after the movie comes out. Absolutely for certain. I don't know, man. It's the year of Sandland. Weirdly, 23 years later, here we are.
It's the year of Sandland and the year of GT.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
seeing so much GT
Wow.
discourse.
Stuff I never would have thought of. It's coming together.
I take the blame for that because we started talking about it a lot. So
Go ahead, buddy.
Here's my Doug impression. Guys, Sandland, mid. Anyways, new Ichiban show.
yeah.
Beelzebub figure. Check it out, guys.
It's coming out. There's a tank figure. There's a model kit of the tank, and it has Beelzebub and everyone in the tank that you can build as well.
See, you just don't have the figures of it yet.
Maybe
Once
when I
you
need-
get there.
I need the
Once
figures,
you have Beelzebub still
I'll get
boxed
it.
behind you, you'll be like, oh, dude,
They're
you
still
guys read
boxed. Thank you
Sandland.
for knowing. No, we too well. It's still boxed.
that's going to be good. So, yeah, that was great. We're going to be jumping back into GT after this. Y'all excited to get back into that?
The Grand Tour.
I'm extremely. Nipples, diamonds. That's what I'm saying.
We've hit the baby stuff, so we're fully into it. Oh, there's a GT
We've got
Vegeta
GT
figure.
Vegeta. He's
Whoa, on a fish.
No, this is real.
Is
That's
that like
Jax?
Jack specific?
Yeah.
Oh, baby. That's how you know it's good. So, we asked for some questions and thoughts about Sandland, and we're going to get to that right after this quick here break. And we're back. Ken is now unfrozen. He can move again. For you,
He didn't go anywhere.
For you, the viewer, it was only 2 seconds. For him, in eternity, who knows?
I got
For the
turned into a
viewers-
kid, so I couldn't use teleportation anymore. So
I was gonna say Randy and I teleported like from here to there, but Ken is in the exact same spot.
It's impressive, his ability to stay still. So we reached out to all y'all on your thoughts on Sandland. And first up, Ken, will you take this one from Lum Ranma Yasha?
yeah, so Ranma Yasha. Rao is one of Toriyama's most nuanced characters, and I enjoy his story of redemption. But how do you feel about the story placing all the blame and evils on the war on General Zhu, while Rao, the king, and the others involved in the war are let off the hook for their parts in it?
I don't think they're let off the hook. They have really big remorse towards what
Yeah.
they've done and are trying to repent for that, trying to get water to the whole world again after all this, and even leave the Peachy people, the survivors, alone. Like, there's this great oasis, but they're here, it's theirs. I'm even going to come back afterwards and keep feeding them food. Like he does that at the end.
I think there's a lot of learning to live with what you've done and become a better person for it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which is a very inspiring message for Toriyama, to think that. And I don't necessarily think the king got off. I mean, yeah, he's giving half his riches away, but I think he's still.
That's the worst thing to happen to someone with power, is to take away
Yeah.
some of their power. So
Now he's at 2%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
listen. Now he's got half of his wealth, and also the person who is actually doing his job is gone. So now
Yeah.
he's actually got to work.
Yeah.
So
with someone there now who's responsible. Who, yeah, I
Right.
love the 3-dimensional characters in this. That they're
Right.
just like,
And-
I love the whole what is it, the character usage. Like, we see these characters in Dragon Ball Superhero. Like, the attendant has the same hairdo as as a general.
right.
There's a
Carmine.
few other characters
Yeah,
in there that I'm like,
Carmine,
oh,
yeah.
that's a character they use later in Dragon Ball.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even talk about Lucifer being basically Dabra.
Basically,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I was gonna say, I don't think Rao is off the hook in that he didn't, get anything. Like, he had his own sense of loss, and like, yeah, he's not going to jail, but like, dude already lost a lot,
Lost his
and
wife.
he's going through it
Wife.
to make things better. So like, you know what? He's living with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lost his
So-
wife in the event that he kind of like helped lead the charge on. So,
Yeah.
Jacob Sawyer.
well, real quick,
Says-
we're not
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
we're not going to read these comments, but Lum Ranma Yasha did reply again
Oh,
with some
I didn't
thoughts
see
on the
this.
movie that we're not
Oh.
going to get into for spoiler reasons. But if you are so inclined, check out their reply to the We Got a Podcast tweet. You can go and get a sneak exclusive preview from Lum Ranma Yasha of the movie, which they
Oh,
saw.
they saw
at
the movie
San
at
Diego
Comic-Con?
Comic-Con, yeah.
Nice. Okay.
I'm
How's that for a
excited.
plug?
Oh, that's a good
hell of a
one.
plug. I'm so plugged up, dude.
Jacob Sawyer says, I really enjoyed reading it. There are some Toriyama repeated beats with devil characters struggling with being bad, which I think are well realized in the story. I always like a story about fighting for the oppressed or marginalized. The tanks look great. I mean, their signature Toriyama, mech designs. They're big bubbles.
And it's so like involved too. Like, you see them in the tank going from like different positions, from like steering the wheel to like the weapons and everything. And like, it's such a small enclosed little tank, but you feel like it's a big area. Just how much it utilizes everything of a tank. You can tell Toriyama loves these vehicles.
There was something we didn't talk about, which I didn't bring up, which is, in Dragon Ball, sometimes you got people being like tactician, where they're like, oh, if you try this, like, we'll be able to do that, like Goku firing the blast underneath the lake and then firing them up so you can get behind Frieza.
Mhm.
And it's like, that's cool. Other times it's just punching each other in the face until somebody does a big blast. But like the combat in this, like, yeah, there's the fight with the Insect Man, but the tank combat and like
Tank
having,
combat, yeah.
having Beelzebub up and like, okay, he's going to be over here, blah, blah, blah. And like, knowing it's like, oh, he's going to fire this way. So I got to back up and like, that was so cool. I was like, yes, I am super into this.
You know, Toriyama had to draw a map and then be like, okay, where exactly are these characters at this time?
I want to see that map. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, it's on a bar napkin. Lost to time.
Yeah.
No.
Forever gone. Hey, Ken, do you want to take the Tomes of Evil podcast network?
Yeah, at Tomes of Evil Pod. I first discovered Sandland after an erroneous article said Beelzebub was Dabra's child. I really enjoyed it. It's surprisingly thought-provoking and even more relevant today. The characters are all fun and have the Toriyama charm. Can't wait for the film and game. Everyone here seems to be latching on to just how, like, rich and important the story is in this. In such a way that, like, why didn't anyone tell me this?
Yeah.
I would have read Sandland a long time ago.
That would have gotten me hooked, and I would have been on board like crazy. But you know what? Because I liked it from where I was, maybe it's I needed to wait until I could meet that story where it was. So
I feel the same way. Doug will get it in like 10 years.
Yeah, man.
After he's got a sizable Sandland figure collection.
That's what it is. You should have waited to read this until next year, because all the figures would have been out, and you'd have been like, oh, now I gotta get these. Oh, hell yeah.
You guys are doing it timely for the movie, but not timely for the figures, so you're not considering us figure fans.
Okay, we'll re-review it when those figure arts hit.
Doug is the oppressed in this story because he's a figure fan and not a manga or anime fan.
They had the figures; they're just not releasing them to the public.
We're hoarding them. We're selling them for high prices.
No, scalpers.
That's what it is. I'm gonna rewrite.
I'm gonna rewrite I hate this
manga
so much. I hate because of that. I hate this. I'm like, this fucking sucks.
What if they had to have a lottery, and if you get so many, like, then you can get, I don't know. However figures work, I don't know. That's out of my wheelhouse. Okay.
Just to jump onto something, and I'm going to call them tomes. Tomes?
Yeah.
What Tomes said about the game, I don't know if I'm going to play that. But as much as I long
have you seen enough of it to make a judgment already?
That's the thing. I watched one video, and it was very clearly somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, and I'm like, this is torture. So, like, maybe if I see some actual good gameplay, it might change my mind, but... Because we just got that one video from, I think, IGN, and I'm like, really? This is the only thing?
Does it show gameplay? Does it play like an RPG or what?
It's mostly running around in the tank is what they're mostly doing, and missing fucking everything. So,
as much as I long for the era of like PS2 anime tie-ins, I think I'm good with this one.
Yeah, I would say, I don't know, if it's gets in like the 7-ish, 6 maybe, and like I'll probably get it. Maybe not day one. But like
we'll just watch a walkthrough. Let's play it.
Guys, I'll get it once season 4 is out, and I'll catch up on all the DLC.
Right.
DLC.
Eventually they're going to reveal that this is one of the Earths in the Dragon Ball, like 12
this
universes.
Is Universe 6.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that somehow, like when they found the oasis of the water, and Beelzebub was like, I see someone over there, and then you go, and it's just like Bulma, hey.
Doug, you're like, this is where Toriyama comes up with it.
This is where, yes.
See, I was thrown off early on when they were attacking the humans to like get the water, and one of the people used holy water on that one ferret thing, and it's like, oh, that doesn't work on Japanese demons. I'm like, okay, Japan exists here, and then I screen capped. I'm like, that seems really weird, unless it's supposed to be like, oh, he's like a yokai or whatever, and that's just a cultural thing. I'm like, nope. Later on, they bring up like this is Earth. But later, I'm like, oh, okay.
I was so ready for more jokes like that, but that was the one joke that sparsed across the entire thing. It's like, this is great.
Oh, Doug, you'll get there. I'm confident.
I'm just smooth brained. I don't like it's too complicated. It's just goes over my head.
Anything else you guys want to throw out there before we close her up?
I know we've spoiled the hell out of Sandland, so if you're this far in, I mean, I really hope that you have already read Sandland, but if for some reason you haven't,
dude, as much as I don't like the story, I still recommend reading it just because it's not just because it's Toriyama, but because it's Toriyama and just how talented he is at drawing and putting together. I feel like he's more suited to flying off the seat of his pants story wise, as opposed to you guys thinking it's better that he plays it out, but it's still definitely worth a read.
Heck yeah. Recommendations from 3 different people, so it's good. We want to thank you all for listening. We love interacting with you and keeping you in the conversation, talking about our favorite franchise and things that are adjacent to it, apparently, in the world. You can tweet at us at WeGotAPod. You can email us at WeGotAPod@gmail.com.
Thank you to Rifty Beats for letting us use his track Kakarot Theme Hip Hop Trap Remix. You can find that track and other great music by Rifty on his SoundCloud. Ken, where can the good people find you?
You can find me at Detective X on twitter.org/x.com.
Nice. Wow. You got the rights to that?
Yeah.
Starting your own thing, twitter.org/x.com.
Randy, what about you?
You can find me at Saber_Breaker on X, on Threads, on Blue Sky. That's right. I'm in there now. You can't stop me.
Wow. We can.
Block.
We can. Yeah. It's that easy.
Use the block button. Doug, what about you?
You can find me at Jabaz Doug. I'm posting my TikToks on the We Got a Pod YouTube channel. So if you don't have TikTok, just check it out there. You guys let me know. Do you want me to just dump a bunch in there or just keep it sparse? You let me know. I'm doing it sparse for now.
That's all. That's a Ken question.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm gonna turn that question around
audience
back to the
audience
comments.
question.
Yeah.
I was asking the audience what do they
yeah.
want.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. So
Well,
There was like a silence as if I was like waiting for the comments to come back. Like, okay, what do you want?
While you're commenting down below about whether or not you think Doug's Tiki Talkies should become regular YouTube content, also hit that subscribe button, guys. Send us reviews on the Spotify's and answer Randy's questions when he asks you questions on the Spotify's.
Yeah.
And it helps us out, guys. We broke into the mom community. We're pretty much there. We're the #1 mom Dragon Ball podcast for sure. I think that's undeniable, especially the #1. Well, for some reason, we're the #2 mom Dragon Ball podcast in Portugal, which doesn't really like add up. So
but that gives us a goal.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Something to shoot for.
So, guys, thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you later.
later.
See ya.